First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you who watched my review of House of Necrosis. As I said in that video, I absolutely love that game. Today, however, and seeing as it is still October as of this recording, we'll be taking a look at a more classical indie retro survival horror throwback. I know that the market for OG survival horror style games is rather flooded, and a lot of them aren't very good, sadly. But this game, however, stands far above the majority of its contemporaries. It features a surprisingly well-crafted backstory, well-written dialogue, well-designed puzzles, and plenty of secrets to find and collect. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here either. We haven't even begun this journey yet, so take a seat, strap yourself in, and let's get this show on the road. We can't stop here. This is Crow Country. Crow Country is an old-school styled survival horror game developed and published by a company known as SFB Games in 2024. I originally thought that SFB was a new developer, but it turns out that they have been involved in developing games for quite some time now. Most of their games are mobile fare, but SFB did develop a little puzzle game gem called Snipperclips for the Nintendo Switch. If you've never played it, Snipperclips is a great little game and definitely worth checking out. However, that is about as far as I plan on going into their previous efforts. So back to Crow Country. As I just stated, Crow Country is a classical survival horror game. I'm sure most of you understand what this means, but for those of you who don't, allow me to explain. In survival horror games of this style, you are usually put in control of a single character, though sometimes you do swap between people in some examples, and are tasked with exploring a location or locations, usually with the goal of solving some kind of mystery. Along the way, you will most likely encounter dangerous threats, challenging puzzles, and a wide assortment of items to assist you on your way. Where the survival part comes in is the fact that the items are very much limited. Classic survival horror has no shops. You live and probably die on your ability to play the game and ration your items well. If you run headlong into danger time and time again, you will quickly find yourself running low on healing items. And in games like these, that means your demise is not far off. Crow Country is, in its every aspect, a survival horror game cut from this cloth. And while admittedly it doesn't break any new ground, what it does do, it does incredibly well. Crow Country is set in an abandoned theme park named, well, Crow Country. Federal agent Mara Forrest has been sent to Crow Country on a missing persons case. Arriving at the park in her car, she places some files on the hood and gets to work exploring the place. Mara quickly happens upon a pool of what seems to be blood, as well as a large crow statue. Surrounding her in this area, there are also a number of locked doors which she does not have the key for. Choosing to explore a bit further on, Mara finds an injured man whom she has the option of healing. The man says he was injured by something in the park. Along the path as well is a number written on the ground in what seems to be blood. Odd to say the least, as the man doesn't seem to have been injured that badly. Soon enough though, Mara does indeed find what may have been responsible for the injury. In a hallway nearby are a couple of twisted, seemingly mutated humanoid creatures. I hope I was able to set the stage there for you at least a little. As you've seen during the gameplay I've been showing you, the atmosphere in this game is quite well done. The lighting, sound effects, and ambiance all combine here to form a surprisingly effective horror package, especially given the graphical style of the game as a whole. One would not expect a game with such chibi-style models to provide particularly well-crafted horror, but Crow Country does this quite masterfully, I feel. The gameplay in Crow Country is what you'd expect from a survival horror game. You explore the park, finding items, reading notes, and solving puzzles. Anyone with any experience in this genre will probably be expecting the movement to be done using tank controls. And while the game does have tank controls, you can also move about freely with the left analog stick. The hell are tank controls? I hear some of you asking. Tank controls function as such. To move your character forward, you hold up on the D-pad. Left and right turn your character to their left or right, not yours. And down on the D-pad will make the character step backwards. These controls function best when playing a game with pre-rendered scenes and predetermined camera angles, since while moving around between those scenes, you will always know which D-pad direction moves your character forward. The control system does take some getting used to, but with enough practice, you will find yourself deftly traversing the environments with very little difficulty. Again, however, if tank controls are a problem for you, Crow Country allows you to completely disregard them, so there's something here for everyone. The aforementioned puzzles in Crow Country will either grant you a key item that is required to progress elsewhere on the park grounds, or some form of secret item. When a secret is found, the game will display how many secrets you have located up to that point, as well as the total number of secret items in the park. You will also be spending a lot of time either fighting the various forms of mutated life within Crow Country, or evading them to preserve your extremely limited ammo supply. Most of the time, as in the majority of great survival horror experiences, you will find it is a much more intelligent choice to allow an enemy to live than it is to kill it. Sometimes dispatching foes will help, of course, but you will have to pick and choose these moments carefully. Clearing out a smaller room where there are useful items or a puzzle you need to solve is a good example. If you go around killing everything you see with reckless abandon, you will most certainly meet your end at the hands of a creature you may not be able to run away from. Be sure to keep this in mind as you explore, and you may just make it through this. Throughout the park as well are a large number of these blue bird statues. These statues can be found in all manner of places, and so will require a keen eye if you wish to find them all. These birds can be destroyed with a single shot from one of your weapons. Do so! I wonder what kind of reward you might earn for completing this optional task. As stated earlier, you will be exploring the eponymous Crow Country theme park. The grounds of this park are decently large, but not overly massive. This ensures that traversal of the park will never take too long, especially once you start opening shortcuts. The park itself is also split into a number of themed sections. I won't spoil them here, but I will say one thing. I really enjoy the fact that the puzzles in these areas play along with the themes of the sections that they are placed in. It's very well thought out, and as such, provides quite an immersive playthrough considering, again, the graphical style. Admittedly, the graphics are quite charming to me. As such, I do not view them as a downside, but I'm sure there are some of you who will. I implore you to look beyond the graphics, however. The greatness of this game transcends the typical notions of beauty. Or something. Anyway, throughout your journey as Mara Forest, you will be finding notes that people have haphazardly tossed about the park, some of which contain some fairly incriminating statements made by the various characters who have worked here before. While it is odd that characters wouldn't just take these notes and journals with them, that kind of thing is just a part of the charm of old-school survival horror, and is very much on brand for the genre. You will also come across a small cast of other characters, ranging from people who have come to Crow Country on business, to people who either work for the park and its owner, or are somehow directly involved with the owner of the park himself. There is quite a decent amount of lore backing up this game's narrative events. Throughout your time with the game, you will come across information which will bring to light deeper histories of the park, of the monsters haunting its grounds, of its owner, and of Mara herself. Crow Country is not a long game either, but it is packed with quality regardless. I'm going to provide you with some minor tips here. This section isn't going to be very long at all, but there are going to be things within it that you may see as spoilers. For this reason, you may want to skip to the time listed on your screen to avoid this information. You have been warned. Okay? Okay. Saving is free in this game. You can only save in certain rooms, but be sure to make use of this feature. It will save you some headaches in the long run. I find it is a fairly effective strategy to explore an area, find what it is that you need to do there to progress, and then, if you've wasted a lot of ammo or taken too much damage, reload your save and use your newfound knowledge to make a more effective run of the place. Saving can also allow you to make use of the fortune-telling crows a little bit more effectively. These crow statues can be found around the grounds of the park. At these crow statues, you can spend a token, you begin the game with 10, to gain a hint as to where it is you have to go next. This can be a lifesaver if you ever find yourself stuck. After getting the information, if you have saved just before using the crow, you can reload your file and the game will forget that you ever used the crow to begin with, thus removing its use from your record and saving you the token as well. Unless you've saved your game after using the crow, of course. In that case, there's nothing I can do for you. During your explorations, if you make sure to solve every puzzle you find, you will eventually come across a magnum. Ammo for this weapon can be found in various secret locations, and is insanely precious. Save this weapon for the final boss, or for particularly tough enemies in particularly shitty locations. Do not use it willy-nilly. You will thank yourself later, trust me. Here we are, folks. Those of you who have come to taste the bitter nectar of negativity will find that there isn't all that much of it here. Like with House of Necrosis, this game does a ton of things right. The bad things, in this case, all come down to minor annoyances. One of these things is the camera, unfortunately. The environment in Crow Country, unlike the majority of old-school survival horror games, is rendered in 3D. You can rotate the camera around yourself freely, which is nice, but it also tends to reposition itself on its own as you move through areas. This can be jarring. The camera also has a tendency to block your view with walls and such if you rotate it manually right after leaving a room. This can cause you to take unfair damage from enemies which you cannot see. Just be aware of this issue and adjust your play accordingly. The next thing, and this one is far more annoying, is the game's overuse of traps. These range from fake items which explode when you try to take them, to little bombs which poison you when stepped on, to crow heads on sticks which exhale poison gas, and hell, even random out-of-place chandeliers which will fall on you when you walk under them. These traps add nothing of value to the game and only serve to annoy rather than to challenge. If you're saving often enough, they won't matter anyway, as you can just reload your save, find and shoot the trap to disarm it, and then move on with your game. Damn pains in the ass. If it wasn't clear yet, I fucking love Crow Country, and it seems that a number of other people do too. It boasts an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam. I'm happy to see that so many people can, like me, see the quality in this incredible game. It isn't long, so it doesn't overstay its welcome, and the masterful design of the game speaks for itself. I know, if it speaks for itself, then why the fuck did I make this review? I don't know, man. These are fun to make, okay? Anyway, if what you've seen here today has at all piqued your interest, then please give Crow Country a shot. I think you'll walk away from it with a new favorite to add to your list. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go get the rest of the achievements in this thing. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody.